Emotions. It's something that influences how we make decisions, and it's something that affects how we act or behave in the world. How we respond to emotions can either create or destroy relationships. It's such a big part of our daily experience, and yet we are rarely taught in school or at home how to recognize them and how to properly deal with them. Most psychologists suggest the emotion wheel to distinguish your emotions, but I've found something better: emotion typology. It lists all the positive and negative emotions. It's backed with research, and it even has examples from films. In this video, I'll be talking about how I've used emotion typology, how it changed my life, and how you can use it to become more emotionally intelligent. Growing up, I was not a big fan of emotions. Emotions made you act in embarrassing ways. They made you look vulnerable. Others can judge or bully you just by expressing happiness or sadness. And so what I did is I stuffed them down. At first, you don't really get to experience the full consequence of that, but years down the line, it hits you. And that happened to me, and it forced me to pay attention to my emotions. First off, what are emotions? I've learned that emotions are indicators, and they're neither good nor bad. Emotions reveal where we are in relation to something that's happening or something that happened. I've learned that they're like indicators in your car. For example, you don't have your seatbelt, so the seatbelt sign is on, or you have low fuel. So they're just indicators, and they're not something that you should be upset about because they just point you to the real issue. So take for example jealousy in relationship. You may feel it when your partner spends more time with someone more than you. So this is an indication that this person, your partner, is important to you. And having these feelings is not bad in itself. It's how we respond to these feelings that matters more. It's how we respond to our emotions that defines our character and ultimately what brings success or failure in relationships. Same is true with other emotions. So, how do we make our emotions our friend? How do we respond to them in a way that leads to success, to deeper self knowledge, and healthier relationships? Step one is to recognize the emotions. This is also called emotional granularity or emotional literacy. So, how do we recognize emotions? Well, here's what I did. I memorized all the emotions listed in emotion typology. Back then, the site only had negative ones, which was perfect because that's what held me back the most in my studies and relationships. So I had to start there. To help me memorize, I made myself a quiz in Google Forms. I listed the definitions and made multiple choices for each one. And then I took that test over and over until I got everything right. You can also use flashcards for this. And not gonna lie, quizzing myself was kind of fun. And after I did this, I felt like I gained some kind of superpower. I could understand my emotions and other people's emotions. I can even read the emotions of characters in movies. There are more benefits just by recognizing your emotion. So, for example, in The Brothers Karamazov, a woman confesses to a priest that she doesn't want to help the sick and the poor because deep down, she wants to be paid for her kindness. That level of self awareness is painful for her. So she asked the priest, what can she do about this? What can she do about this feeling? And the priest gives a very insightful answer. Above all, avoid falsehood. Every kind of falsehood, especially falseness to yourself. What seems bad to you within you will grow purer from the very fact of your observing it in yourself. And it made sense to me. Just from being able to recognize something in yourself, you're already in the path to change. Here's another benefit to just recognizing emotions, and it is having the capability to do affect labeling or emotion labeling. If you're feeling bad, stating your feelings into words like I'm sad or I'm angry already helps you deal with it. It's also found to increase the intensity of positive emotions. So, just doing the first step, recognizing emotions, gives you more awareness, reduces the intensity of negative emotions, and increases the intensity of positive emotions. So, what else are you waiting for? You've got to memorize this stuff in order to gain this power. Step two is respond to the emotion. So now that you've recognized the emotion, how do you respond to it? What do you do with it? Now, this is what I found to be tricky because how we express emotions usually comes from how we were raised. For example, Your father might lash out when he's angry, and you might have copied that. And also, how we respond to emotions depend on our personality. Like, one person can be very vocal when they're angry, another person can be quiet and shut down completely. So, how do you know if your response to an emotion is healthy? The relationship test. Ask yourself, will my response compromise my relationship with myself? Will it compromise my relationship with others? And will it compromise my relationship with God? So, for example, let's say I feel dissatisfied with my current job. I'm not growing, I feel unappreciated, and every day feels like a drag. Now, I could respond to this emotion by complaining constantly, doing the bare minimum, or even daydreaming about quitting without any plan. So let's test that. So, will that response do me any good? Let's use the relationship test. Will it compromise my relationship with myself? And for me, it's yes, because staying stuck will make me feel powerless and less confident in myself. I'll hate myself for not having the guts to do something about my situation. Number two, will it compromise my relationship with others? The answer is yes. My coworkers or family might get affected by my negativity. I might bring that frustration into conversations with my colleagues, or I might even withdraw emotionally. Number three, will it compromise my relationship with God? For me, the answer is yes, because God gave me some resources and talent, and if I'm not putting myself in situations where I can use them fully, then I'm not making the best of what God gave me. God might deal with me just as the master dealt with the servant who hid the one talent the master gave him. So clearly, this response will not do me any good. A better response would be to acknowledge the dissatisfaction. Maybe I can reflect on what's missing in my job. Like, is it meaning? Is it growth? Is it recognition? And then I can take small actionable steps. Like, for example, I can talk with my manager, or I can explore a side project, or I can pray for clarity. So, in this case, dissatisfaction, when responded well, is actually the start of a transformation. And in this way, I'm not compromising my relationship with myself, with others, and with God. You can even do this with other emotions like insecurity, loneliness, or even lust. Yes, that's an emotion. Now, what if you cannot find a healthy response? What can you do? So, what I've learned is I can ask someone wiser, or I can even look at role models in real life or even in movies.
Obvious naman eh. I'm a failure.
Christine, don't be too hard on yourself. Hindi dahil hindi mo naabot yung pangarap mo, failure ka na. All I can say is that you're young. You're only 27, right? You can always make your own dreams.
Or I can read books. So, let me give a personal example. 2 years ago, I was doing all this recognizing of emotions in myself, and I noticed that the most dominant emotion I had at that time was worry. And I couldn't figure out how to properly respond to this emotion. So, I went and bought a book, and it's this one. Another example might be shame. So shame is a deep emotion, and we're not really taught in school how to deal with it. So you can read books like Embracing Shame that explores more about what shame really means and how you can healthily deal with it. So in summary, emotion typology is a great way to start recognizing emotions in yourself and in others. You can memorize it, you can quiz yourself with it, and gain that new superpower of recognizing emotions. Now, once you start recognizing the emotions and observe how you express them, you can then use the relationship test to see if your response to your emotion will do you any good. And finally, once you recognize an emotion, and you're struggling with it, your response fails the relationship test and you don't know what to do, you can then ask someone wiser or take role models in real life or in movies, or you can read books about it. You'll now be in the correct direction because you've recognized what emotions you're really feeling, and you can search up resources about that particular emotion. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you learned something valuable, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.